the speech really was a speech of three parts. The introductory section was a section in which he acknowledged that the American Catholic educational system was unique in all the world. It was one that was built up to serve the immigrants. He stressed how grateful he was for all that it had done, the school system from K all the way up through 16, to advance the cause of the poor and to allow immigrants to enter the mainstream in America. He talked about how wonderful the work of people like St. Elizabeth Ann Seton had been to bring this about, and the formation in the faith that had taken place. At the end, interestingly enough, quite to my surprise, he returned to that. And he said, to those of you who have worked in the colleges, I thank you. For those of you who have worked in the schools, you have my profound gratitude. He said, I ask you, however, do not leave the schools, especially the schools that serve the poor. That was one of the few times when there was spontaneous and prolonged applause, when he says, do not leave the schools, especially the schools that serve the poor. The center section was a very beautiful discourse, really, on the relationship between faith and reason, and the contribution that faith-based education can make, not only to the church, but to the nation. It's so rich that I would say it's a talk that I want to meditate on, not just kind of read through once or twice.
When he talks to the presidents and to clergy members, do not leave the poor out. Do not leave those schools in poor areas. Is he talking about the controversy of so many Catholic schools, elementary, perhaps some high schools having to close because of financial problems?
I think he's certainly touching on that, and one of the ways in which he focused our attention at the end was, he said to religious sisters, brothers, and priests in a special way, do not forget the poor, do not close those schools. So I think what I discovered today is what people here in Washington discovered yesterday. He's very, very well informed. He knows just about everything that's going on in the church in America. He's prepared well for this visit, and he's touching on the major accomplishments of the church, but also the major challenges. So I think, Dean, you're onto something. He is saying, I understand that it's costly. I understand you have to stretch. But this is very important. Do not abandon the schools, especially those that serve poor people.
Finally, for you, Father McShane, the Pope is on his way to New York City on Friday. What do you think about what happened here in Washington, D.C. as he left you guys? He actually rode around in a Pope mobile very slowly, and the people were fanatic about seeing him. What's your response to their response to the Pope?
Well, quite frankly, I'm encouraged by it. He's a very shy man. That came across in the talk. Very reserved, very much a professor. And yet, when he begins to talk, he speaks to you with great respect for you. So he engages people in a way that I was very surprised at. And I think people here in Washington who have now seen him for 2 days have picked up on that. And they are touched by him in a way that they weren't touched by John Paul II, who was the great charismatic leader. But this man quietly is drawing people in. So I think people in New York are going to like him. They're going to respond well to him. I think he's going to take on some very tough topics when he speaks to us in New York. Humanism. He's stopping at the synagogue, at Park East Synagogue. He's going to talk to the leaders of other faiths, and he's also going to engage all of us, of course, at the stadium, and he's going to visit Ground Zero. So I think it's going to be a rich time, and I think he's well prepared and well briefed for this.